My name is Conor Hartigan. I work for the University of Limerick in our Educational Assistive Technology Centre. I'm delighted to be asked to talk about assistive technology in education in terms of our neurodiverse students. In terms of our neurodiverse students, I'll be talking about the assistive technology supports that we can give to students with autism or Asperger's, ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and others. It's estimated around 10% of the population is neurodivergent in some way. And I want to talk about some of the assistive technology trends that are occurring at the moment and how it's benefiting this group of neurodiverse students. To just take a look at neurodiversity in the Irish education landscape. In third level education in Ireland, AHEAD, the Association for Access and Disability, record the statistics and numbers of students with disabilities attending third level education in Ireland. There are 27 responding higher education institutions, and 6.2% of the total student population are students with disabilities. This equates to 15,696 students. As of 2018-19, or 2017-18 to 2018-19, there was a 7% increase, but the overall percentage of 6.2 remained unchanged because of a corresponding 7% year-on-year growth in the total number of students attending third level. This represents, the 6.2% represents a consistent growth in the numbers of students with disabilities registering with the disability support services in higher education or accessing higher education, over 200% in the last 10 years. In 2008-2009, there was 4,856. It illustrates the substantial progress made in providing better access for students with disabilities in higher education. It is important to note that not all students with disabilities register with the disability support services, however, the majority do. To look at that cohort, that 6.2%, that 15,000 students in 2018-19, 37% was in the specific learning difficulty category, like dyslexia. There was 6.9% in the autism or Asperger's category. DCD, dyspraxic category was 6.5%. ADD, ADHD category was 5%. In the neurological speech and language category was 4.8% of these students. And just to note that there was increases in the Asperger's autism category by 21% from 2017-18 to 2018-19, and the neurological speech and language category rose by 17% in the same year. So what we're saying here is that of the students with disabilities in third level of that 15,000 students, about 77%, roughly 77%, are neurodiverse students, students with learning difficulties like dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADD, ADHD. So it's a significant category of or significant portion of students with disabilities would be considered to be neurodiverse. And when we're talking about neurodiversity, what type of assistive technology supports are we going to put in place or needs to be put in place for these students? So when we're meeting with a student, we always focus on the most pressing task. Is it reading, writing, note-taking, memory, attention, organization of their work? And we also do a lot of teacher training, supporting teachers to support their students using assistive technology. And we always tell the students or the teachers to focus on the most pressing task, which is usually reading. And then once we have an assistive technology strategy embedded into the student's daily educational routine, then we can move on to the next difficulty that the student's having, be it writing or organization or memory or note-taking. So what I'm going to try and demonstrate is the trend that's occurring in assistive technology support internationally. There are loads of excellent professional softwares available, but the trend is that the operating systems or the technology companies are providing these strategies built into either the operating system or built into the suite of applications that the students would use on the operating system, like G Suite, Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, or the Microsoft Office suite of applications, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. So I'm going to try and show you what's happening. So in terms of reading and comprehension, the most ubiquitous or common strategy available, assistive technology strategy available to students who are struggling with reading is text-to-speech. And text-to-speech is where electronic text is highlighted and read aloud using a computer synthesized voice. So it removes the decoding barrier for a student who's struggling with reading speed or comprehension. For example, a student with dyslexia who's putting all their energy and effort into decoding all of the words, which is reducing the speed and reducing the overall comprehension of the text that they're reading, and adding to significant frustration for that student. So recently in the Assistive Technology Outcomes and Benefits Journal, there was a study in the United States on students in 7th and 8th grade and on their use of the text-to-speech, and it showed that it was beneficial in bolstering reading comprehension for struggling readers. And these findings corroborate results from previous studies that point to the effectiveness of text-to-speech as a compensatory reading strategy. So it removes the barrier to reading and just compensates for that. And the successful use of text-to-speech has been broadly based on the cognitive theories such as cognitive load theory, which denotes that information should be delivered in a way that reduces unnecessary load on working memory. And that's where a student is putting all their effort and energy into decoding, trying to keep all that information in their working memory and taking none of the comprehension out. So text-to-speech is widely available on all operating systems and platforms. It's available within the accessibility features on Apple, Android devices, on Windows and Mac devices. However, it is available on professional softwares, and one very popular one includes Read and Write Gold, and another popular one includes Conor Read software. They are quite expensive softwares, and they're widely recommended. However, the trend currently is that these accessibility features and universal supports are available within G Suite, or is available on your Apple Mac or your iPad or on your Android tablet, and it's also widely available through Microsoft accessibility features in the operating system or through accessibility features available on Office 365. Accessibility features and strategies such as text-to-speech, dictionary supports, grammar and spell checking, dictation and voice recognition, notation solutions, and captions. All widely available. The first and most popular one is the Immersive Reader. And the Immersive Reader is a feature or a tool that's built into Microsoft Word, Microsoft Edge, and other applications in the Microsoft suite of applications. And within the Immersive Reader, text-to-speech or read aloud is available for students who have difficulty with visual crowding or scotopic sensitivity. The ability to quickly and easily and temporarily change the spacing, the individual character spacing, word spacing, and line spacing, the font size, to change the colors to help with that visual crowding, to show syllables, to help with decoding, to show parts of the speech like the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, to quickly turn on a line focus tool or a picture dictionary, or for students who are learning English as a second language, a translation feature. And these are already available in Microsoft Word. So the student doesn't have to go to look to a different software like Read and Write Gold or Clara Read. So where is the Immersive Reader available? Well, it's available in Onenote, the note-taking program. It's available in Word. It's available in Outlook, Edge, Teams, Forms, Flipgrid, Office Lens. The list goes on. And it's also available across platforms. So it's available on Windows, it's available on the Mac OS, iOS and Android. I've put in links here. Anywhere in this presentation, by the way, is you see blue underlying, that means a link. So I have some links here on a video on the Immersive Reader, and also an interactive tutorial if you'd like to try that as well. So just quickly, just going to play a quick video. Reader in the true purpose education is to create possibility. So here you can see the words being highlighted. So that's the Immersive Reader, and you could see an example of some text being read, and you can see it being highlighted. But when that is being highlighted, it's also read aloud for those students using a voice. So the Immersive Reader in Microsoft Word, so you can see here that it's available in Microsoft Word. So if a student is doing their own work, an assignment, a project, an essay, they can read back their own work using the Immersive Reader in Word. If they were reading a web page online, they could use Microsoft Edge, or Microsoft Edge will also open up PDFs and certain books. So they can use the text-to-speech for anything electronic. However, if the student then has a physical book or a physical page or handout or a collection of notes that they need to read that's in hard copy, they can use the free Office Lens app, which has the Immersive Reader and text-to-speech built into it. So I suppose all text is now available or made accessible to students with reading difficulties. Also built into all of in all of the platforms are spelling and grammar checkers and supports. Some of them are quite good, some of them not so good, but they're constantly being updated. And a recent update in the Microsoft Word spelling and grammar checker is the functionality of having a talking spell checker, again using that text-to-speech to read aloud the spelling suggestions and this synonyms of those suggestions to help the student pick the correct word for that context. So these are constantly being updated and improved. When it comes to writing, students with learning difficulties or neurodiverse students may have difficulty in a different area of the writing phase, a different area of one of the 4 writing phases, or in fact in all of them. And there are assistive technology supports to help with each. So when it comes to pre-writing or brainstorming and organizing, the use of a mind map to help the student organize, plan, and structure their work, and especially the use of mind mapping templates. So the structure is created already for the student, and then the student puts in their work into the template, providing that structure, planning and organization and management of their assignments, so that they have a very structured and a good flow to their assignments. So there are many mind mapping softwares that are available from the Microsoft Store or Xmind. There's a free trial available that, or popular mind mapping applications that are available in primary and post-primary. Inspiration would be a very popular mind mapping software, or Mind Genius is one that we use in third level. And again, anything in blue underline is a link in this presentation. When it comes to drafting and composing, the assistive technology strategies that are available are, there are 3 of them. You could touch type, and there are widely available free touch typing programs available for students. If touch typing doesn't work, or a student is struggling with touch typing, a student can quickly move on to voice recognition, where they dictate their work, and what they say is typed on screen by a piece of software. And this is now widely available for free on most applications. So it's available for free. Again, the trend, it's available within the operating system on Windows 10, or it's available within the Office 365 suite of applications. There's a dictate feature available in Word and PowerPoint and in Outlook. Within the G Suite suite of applications, Google Docs voice typing is available. And within the Mac OS, there is speech to text. However, the industry standard is Dragon Naturally Speaking. If voice recognition doesn't work for a student, for whatever reason, maybe the student doesn't have clear and consistent speech, or will struggle to verbalize their thoughts, a student can use word prediction. And again, the trend is that in Windows, now in Windows 10, the link here will bring you to how you would set up word prediction that's available for free in Windows 10. I've put in 2 other links for 2 other professional software. LifeKey and PenFriend are popular word prediction professional programs. Like I said, Dragon Naturally Speaking is the industry standard in terms of voice recognition. And if a student is using voice recognition for all of their written work, we would highly recommend that they use Dragon Naturally Speaking for this, because it's the professional software. It allows you to add your own personal vocabulary, your own commands. It is extremely reliable and has a really high accuracy if you access proper training. There is a high dropout rate to students using voice recognition, and the reason why is access to training. You must be in a quiet room or noise-free environment. You need to have a compatible USB noise cancelling headset. You must have a clear and consistent voice, and you of course need to have patience with the software. There's a skill in learning to type using your voice, and it's something that we hope to teach students in our training programs. As I said before, in terms of editing, there's a wide variety of spelling and grammar checks available in Microsoft Word, in Google Docs, and Pages on your Apple device. And they are, as we said before, improving in each iteration of those software. A very good professional software is Grammarly. There is a free version of Grammarly available, but I'm going to talk about the professional version. It's available to be integrated into Office, so Word and Outlook, and it will also work on the Mac version of Word. You could integrate Grammarly into Windows or your web browser, Chrome, Edge, or Safari. And you can also get an app on your smartphone or tablet. Or you could also upload your document to Grammarly.com once you have an account, a free or professional account. And what Grammarly will do will check for your correctness, clarity, your engagement, your delivery. It'll also check for plagiarism if you turn that on, and it'll give you an online overall score in comparison to your peers, and send you weekly updates, email updates, and give you feedback and set goals of becoming a better writer. And Grammarly is quite a popular program at third level. It is a professional software. So moving on to note-taking, and some of the difficulties that students would have while note-taking are neurodiverse students. They might have processing difficulties, listening and writing at the same time, that coordination difficulty or speed of writing, or organization of their work, or a comorbidity where they might have a dyslexia and ADHD. to learning difficulties, which makes note taking quite difficulty. So there's, again, the trend, Microsoft OneNote. It's a free application that's available on all platforms. So Google, iOS, Windows, Mac, and it has all of those accessibility features built into it. It has the Immersive Reader where you can do your text-to-speech and the literacy support built into that. There has the dictation feature, so if you need to write using your voice. It has the ability to insert drawing, pictures, and audio tools, so you can record the lecture. And it also has some excellent math tools where you can use a stylus pen or your mouse to ink or draw math on OneNote, and it will convert it to electronic math for you, which can be then read back by the Immersive Reader. It really is quite impressive. So that's the free solution that's built into the into OneNote. But then the professional solutions, quite popular, is the Livescribe Pen, which is a digital pen and a special notepad. And the Livescribe Pen, the digital pen, will record audio and stick that audio to the ink on the special page, the special notepad, and that allows students to take skeleton notes, pay attention, take some notes, and record those notes to the page. And it allows the student then to play back those notes later by simply just tapping on the ink. And you can see a full demonstration of that by clicking on this link in the presentation here. There's videos on the Livescribe Pen. That Livescribe Pen was very popular pre the COVID restrictions. And since the COVID restrictions have come in and all our learning has moved to the online learning environment, be it live lectures or recorded lectures, audio note taker has really, there's really been an uptake in audio note taker, again, another professional software. And it allows a student to record notes and take a recording of the lecture and take their own notes and import slides into it, and it's become very popular since the COVID restrictions. So I encourage you to check out that link and the video that I've included here. Evernote and Notability are two other very popular note-taking applications. So I'm going to skip past that video and talk about some of the memory and attention techniques that are available. So as before, memory mind mapping software. So the use of association strategies, the use of pictures, audio, video to create strong associations within the mind map to make it easier for a student to understand, comprehend, and remember a topic for an exam situation maybe. And that can be quite popular. And we run lots of training courses on that. Also the use of audio files where a student can take a piece of text and convert it into an audio file so that they can listen back to it at a later, maybe in the afternoon. And that's available in Read and Write Gold and other free software, so that the student can listen back to a piece of text repeatedly to understand it, comprehend it, and to learn about it and try to remember it using an audio file. Also other flashcards, such as a very popular one is Quizlet, where a student creates their own flashcards to study a topic, and those flashcards, Quizlet, can be made available on your Windows device, your Android device, your Apple device. It can be made available across the platforms. And then when a student is trying to focus their attention, again, built into the operating system in Windows 10 is this thing called the Focus Assistant. And the Focus Assistant is, if you turn on the Focus Assistant, it will block all notifications, reminders, or any pop-up emails that you get so that you focus on just one task. And that can be very helpful then when you're using something like the Pomodoro technique, which is where you study for a set period of time. The Pomodoro technique encourages you to study for 25 minutes and take a break for 5 minutes, and also to break up your study task into Pomodoros of 25-minute blocks. And that's Focus Assistant and the Pomodoro technique works quite well together, because the Focus Assistant will block all those reminders and pop-ups and notifications. And also other applications like the Forest application, I've put in the link here in the presentation, to temporarily block websites. So any social media websites, Forest will encourage you to stay away from those sites while you're studying or have your attention on a task, and Forest kind of prompts you away from those sites. Also, the use of digital assistants, again, built in to every single operating system or platform: Siri, Cortana, Alexa, Google Assistant. And for your attention, students need to access spellings, facts, definitions, maths instantaneously while they're focusing their attention on one task, and using those digital assistants to ask Siri to spell something, or ask Siri to get a fact, or do some quick maths with them, so the students can focus their attention and complete their assignment while they're maybe doing a Pomodoro. In terms of organization, again, as we spoke before about using mind maps and templates of mind maps to plan and organize and structure your work before you might draft and compose your work. Also, again, built into operating systems are things like Apple reminders, okay, lists of tasks that we need to complete. Google Keep and Google Tasks are built into the G Suite of applications. Microsoft Tasks and To Do is built into the Office 365 suite. A professional software that's very popular is called My Homework Planner, which will plan out a schedule of classes and also keep track of homework assignments and projects that are coming up. So the assistive technology trends, what I'm trying to show you here was that there are numerous accessibility features available that provided the assistive technology strategies that were previously only provided by professional software. And what's the benefit on this is the reducing demand on the disability support services. As I know in our office, we haven't had an increase in staff in the last 10 years, yet we've had this over a 200% increase in the number of students accessing our services. And as we said before, those neurodiverse students take up about 77% of students with disabilities. So we can show the students these strategies before we make a purchase. We can show them text-to-speech on the device that they're already using. And we can, in some cases, there are no requirement for additional purchase, or in some cases, at primary and post-primary, where these neurodiverse students don't meet the criteria for funding. This is really important. If they don't meet the criteria for assistive technology funding to get the professional software, they're able to access the accessibility features, the strategies that are built into their device to support them in their education. Another huge benefit to this is the student attitudes. And a lot of the time in primary and post-primary levels, students do not want to be seen to be as different. And if these assistive technology strategies are already built into the operating system or suite of applications, they're not seen as different. They're just using the same tools, or maybe an additional tool within the program that all the students in their class are already using. So a recent book that came out on overcoming dyslexia by Shaywitz in the United States, some of her technology recommendations were critical for a dyslexic child using technology is his or her facility in importing and accessing digitized text. Why? Because they need to use text-to-speech because it's the most ubiquitous of the technologies, and she outlines a very simple steps on how to use text-to-speech. She also recommends to teach your child to touch type as early as possible. Some tips on using the technology: you and your child must grasp that no matter what the technology, there's a learning curve associated with its use. important for the child to begin to take ownership of this technology while they're in high school or even before. And that's why we, in the University of Limerick, that we are, as part of our outreach program in the Educational Assistive Technology Centre, that we are going down the years and supporting teachers and students in primary and post-primary on an earlier adaptation or use of assistive technologies. And Shaywitz again goes on to list lots of the technologies that are available, and the book was published in 2020, and already, well, some of the technologies have become out of date, but lots of them that we have covered. And in terms of voice recognition, notably, the learning curve for speech-to-text programs may be intimidating, but know that it is surmountable. So it is achievable. And we will have seen lots of success in terms of speech-to-text or voice recognition in the University of Limerick, and other third-level institutions around Ireland would report the same, that when you have a specific training and support on assistive technologies, that you are more likely to see success. Nearly finished now, but I just want to highlight the research report done by the National Council for Special Education in 2016 on assistive technology in supporting children in the education of children with special educational needs, what works best. And some of the recommendations from this report were the lack of assistive technology knowledge, the lack of teacher training, something that we're trying to address in the University of Limerick, an appropriate assistive technology assessment, lack of an assistive technology trial, and like I said, the trends now that the assistive technology strategies are available on the device that the student is using already. Barriers include lack of training, and as we said, a lack of teacher training, and the cost of the equipment and training. And if the trends are now that the assistive technology features are already available for free, if you've purchased a device, that you don't have to buy it, something additional. It's making the assistive technologies more accessible to our neurodiverse students. The NCSE report also highlights the need for the adaptation of the universal design for learning model, and as an accepted method to create inclusive learning environments. And assistive technology can be a means for creating collaborative learning environment for all within the UDL classroom, and AT is a significantly important element of this. So in the University of Limerick, our Educational Assistive Technology Centre, what we're trying to do is provide outreach to schools. We're providing AT training and support to teachers and SNAs and students and parents. We do that through a summer training program of assistive technologies for teachers, or for teachers, and also for parents and students. And we're also provide support to other institutions in the Midwest region, so Institute of Technology, Tralee, LIT and MIC. We provide assistive technology supports in there, and we're constantly trying to outreach more to schools, and we're working very closely with the education centres, especially Limerick Education Centre, Clare Education Centre, Tralee and others, to provide more training on assistive technology. And the whole objective of our Educational Assistive Technology Centre is to increase the number of students with disabilities in third level through the use of assistive technologies. Like I said, we're doing lots of outreach in the Midwest region, and we also outreach to educational professionals, students, parents, disability groups and charities. We work closely with the National Council for Special Education, and we provide assistive technology training courses for them. We provide 20 one-day training courses on assistive technologies to give to provide intensive teacher training courses on stuff like freeware, reading like gold and voice recognition. We particularly are focused on the freeware, those trends that we've talked about, how you access all the assistive technology supports that are already available on your device. And that freeware course is heavily subscribed every year, and we'll be running it again January through March through the NCSE. Mike, I'd just like also to mention that there are two of us working in assistive technology in the University of Limerick, and my colleague Thomas O'Shaughnessy supports the over 1,000 students with disabilities in the University of Limerick. And I'd like to leave you with this quote. Dyslexia, an Irish Perspective by Wynne McCormack and others. It was printed in 2011, but I suppose this quote really kind of is still very relevant. Students with dyslexia have benefited from the advances made in information and communications technology. These developments are arguably the way forward for all students, but particularly for those who struggle to acquire literacy. And that was in 2011. And I suppose the trends over the last 2 or 3 years that we've seen that Microsoft and Apple and Google have made to provide these accessibility features within their operating systems and their programs, that those who struggle to acquire literacy, the developments in assistive technology and now built in to every operating system, the benefits are there for students. The assistive technology strategies are there for students, and they just need to be shown how to use them effectively and in a structured way. So at that, I'm going to wrap it up. My details are there if you'd like to contact me with any assistive technology queries. There's my email address and my Twitter handle, and I will finish with that, and I'll leave it open for questions. And my references, anything I spoke about today, are available at the last slide.